Hi, Kam.
All right, let's do this.
Okay. What brings you in today?
Well, I've been kind of having trouble finding work. I've been feeling like I really want to move out of this city into like back home to Regina, and yeah, I'm just feeling a lot of like self-esteem feelings about it.
Okay. Which piece is bothering you the most? Which of those problems is bothering you, do you think?
Well, I guess I'm really happy at my current job right now. I've been at it for 4 years, and I'm really good at it, and like, but I don't feel challenged anymore. So it's I'm ready to move on to something more challenging. But anytime I apply for a new job that's like much more challenging, I'm not getting any callbacks. And so it's kind of taking a hit on my self-esteem because I just kind of feel a little bit trapped in my role.
Tell me
So,
more. Sorry to interrupt. Tell me more about the feeling of feeling trapped.
well, I get like kind of panicky when I'm when I feel like, oh no, this is going to be like, I'm not going to be able to find something that I'm um, qualified for, or that I like and that I want. So I guess it's just like I get frantic for these like moments when I feel like bored with my job, or I feel like I'm not doing enough with like my skills.
Yeah. Tell me a little bit about your job.
Well, I work with uh, teenage newcomer students, and I'm pretty much everything for them. Like, I help them with life skills, I help them with medical appointments, finding employment, moving on to post-secondary, and like just everything. Like, if they have problems with interpersonal relationships, like, I'm there too. So like, it's really great. Like, I really enjoy my job, and I'm so excited to have had this opportunity to work with them for so long. But I also just feel like I've pretty much got as much as I could from it and given as much as I could. And I think that it's like a job for maybe people who are just starting out their careers in this type of field. So I'm kind of growing.
Okay. Why is feeling two things I kind of want to touch on. You lit up a bit when you talked about the job. What parts of the job do you love?
I love the students. They are just the greatest. They a lot of them have come from refugee situations, so forced migrants, and they've overcome a lot. Like, they have so much resilience, and they just teach me every day like how to have a positive attitude and how to be um, in the moment, and just they're just really strong people, and that's my favorite part, is working with them.
So why don't you think it's challenging for you anymore?
I think it's not um, um, I guess it's more so about the people in my that I work alongside. So like the teachers and the administrators. If I'm sitting in my office, they're like, "What do you do? Like, what are you doing?" kind of thing. And then if I'm not in my office, then they're like, "Where are you? Why aren't you ever here?" kind of thing. And so I feel like I can't win when it comes to like how people perceive my role, um, particularly the other professionals that I work with. Because we haven't had very many newcomers in the last 8 months. And when there are newcomers that come, I come in, I do my job real quick, and then I get out, kind of thing. And then I just think that they're seeing me as somebody who
Oh, sorry.
they're seeing me as um,
Somebody who,
kind of useless, you know. Like I feel like I'm being perceived as being not necessary or important in the role, I
okay.
guess.
Tell me a little bit more about why it matters to you, your feelings around feeling important in your role.
I guess it's the community. But I am like one of the only First Nations people, only person of color in all of like our frontline staff in all of my city. Like I'm very familiar with like the health services. I'm familiar with the social services and everything like that. And it's just a challenge to be seen as an equal. And so I think that that's been kind of becoming more and more of an issue for me living here in Moose Jaw. And the longer it goes, like where I'm being seen as somebody not as useful, it just is taking its toll on me.
Yeah. Is your culture important to you?
It is very important to me. But I have never, well, I was on the Aboriginal Community Association here a couple years ago for a couple years, but I had to take a step back once I started school and my father was ill and I was working, and it was not something that I could continue. It was like one of the first, I had another job too. So then those two, the second job and my work on the board, had to like take a back seat, and so I could focus on this aspect of my life. But I guess now that I'm getting more education, I'm starting to feel like, okay, I have more to offer, and I really want to like be able to get into working in a way that I can help people in a more, I guess, meaningful way to me.
Hmm. Do you think
Mhm.
that your indigenous culture is tied with the relationships you have with the people at work?
Um, I think there might be, yeah, some. I know that there are some teachers maybe that I've come across where I automatically get this like sense from them that they don't see me as somebody who's competent, or like an undercurrent of racism across Saskatchewan. So, but I had always kind of felt like that I wasn't affected by that. But in recent years, I have also noticed that like anytime I apply for jobs working in like the mental health sector and everything, that I'm being overlooked, or like maybe I'm not qualified but or ready or prepared for that role. But I definitely think that it plays a role in being not being not getting those interviews or opportunities.
And that must impact your self-esteem, I imagine.
Um, it does, because I always had to dose myself extra more so than people who have like the same education, the same backgrounds or similar backgrounds, because of my First Nations heritage. So I also know that I have had lots of privileges because of that. So like I had lots of opportunities to have really great summer internships where I could really grow my resume. But now it's kind of it's stagnating. Like things are like, now that I'm getting even more education, it's like it's becoming more apparent to me that there might be something else going on.
Mhm. And are you wanting to continue to work with students, or what areas would you want to move forward in?
Well, I had applied to a few positions in post-secondary because I would prefer to work with like um, young adults, and that's kind of where I work the best. So I've been applying to post-secondary institutions, and on Friday, like they hadn't contacted me, and I had seen that their postings were still open. And then on Friday, I got one message or an email back saying that like we found somebody else, and I was like, you didn't even call me. And but there's really nothing I can do about that.
Mhm. Why do you think that your self-esteem is connected to your job?
Um, I think that um, it's a lot of my history, like my mom and my whole mom's side of the family was very education oriented, and my mom's she has her master's in social work, and I know that the way that she'd always taught, well, some of her insecurities kind of like transferred down to me, and like I need to prove myself in order, with my education, with my job, with my accolades and everything, in order to be um, overcome these stereotypes that a lot of First Nations people face, and probably that I wasn't always aware of, but that I probably face too.
Tell me more about the stereotypes.
Well, I'm just worried that like people are gonna think that I've had my education paid for me, so that I didn't work hard enough to get where I am, and that like people are going to assume that I'm not actually as competent as I think that I am, or that that I'm not somebody who's worth investing in.